Before I'd ever tell, stone pillars crack under the weight of hell. Got a vision, blood all in the wishing well. I'm about to blow out my chakras, baby. Cause I slide, I trip through dimensions. It's not tough for me, it's too much for you. Look once, twice, I'm time bending. Beam upon my chest, but I'm slipping through. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Because I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Because I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Throw the answers to keep them quiet. Let that feel good, we never try it. Live a long time, like I'm reviving. Stay to fight it, or die silent. Sure can I hit? Curse mark on my wrist. Cause all these black diamonds dancing like they throw a fit. Showing on my eyes, baby, I see through the best. Village in the leaves, but I never left. Can you feel the lightning when I strike out? Try to replicate, but you don't have the guts. I feel like I'm going with the lights out. There's a demon in my body and it's calling for play. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Because I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Jet black, I'm masked by the night. Cold heart, throw that to the side, yeah. I'm a limit, but I never push it farther. Because I live to be a hero, not a martyr. Throw the answers to keep them quiet. Let that feel good, we never try it. Live a long time, make I'm reviving. Stay to fight it, or die silence.
And we're dancing and we're doing things because we can. Hello, all you PC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of Grapple Gurus, your PLE and PPV review show here on the BC WrestlePod YouTube, Twitch, podcasting network conglomeration syndicate. I got that all out in one breath. I'm impressed with myself. I am your host, one of your hosts, Mikey, and joining me this evening, of course, is Team Just Alice and Adolfo. Hello, Team A&A. How are we doing this evening?
Thank God Law and Order has returned to this chaos. Whoever you left in charge of the past few AEW shows, just all over.
I mean, technically, I left you in charge. I think we did okay.
I don't know what you're
I was here for everything. What are you talking about?
I thought he was talking about the show, and I got really confused.
I was like, it went great. What are we talking about? So what Adolfo is trying to say is that I should leave him in charge a little bit more. Got it. I'm gonna totally do that. Well,
Nope.
too bad. Come December, I need probably like 1 or 2 dates where I'm gonna need your help. So too bad. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so tonight the three of us tonight the three of us are here to review AEW Full Gear, which was, which occurred Saturday, November 23rd. So that was 2 days ago. Oh my goodness, it was a lot of fun, but it was also a very long show.
It was so long,
as they usually are.
Yeah, these pay-per-views tend to go 4 hours, and I'm like, that's a lot of wrestling. I'm just like, that's a lot. I mean, it was fun, but it was a lot, and we'll talk about it too because I had some ups and I had some downs.
If we include 0 hour, wasn't it?
It was almost 6 hours. Yeah.
It's like a work day.
Honestly, it did. For some of these matches, it did feel like work, which we'll talk about it. We have a lot to get through because not only are we going to do Full Gear, but because we are going on holiday break and we will not be having a regular AEW show tomorrow, we're going to talk about what got announced last night, which is our block for the Continental Classic.
So excited.
I'm excited, but I also have some questions as to why we picked certain people, ? But we'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there.
We will get there. But if you are new here to BC WrestlePod, we are all over the internet. Outside of Twitch and YouTube, we have Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram, a TikTok. We have a Patreon. We have merchandise that you could buy. It is getting cold out there, so now it's time to be rocking sweater weather and, your crew neck long sleeves. So go ahead and cop those. Those are going to be fun. And of course, if you want to support us and make sure you can always interact, leave comments, message us on the social medias, tag us in your favorite posts. Let us know what you like. Tell us why we're wrong. We love to and welcome everything and anything. As long as you're not being a jerk about it, because then you will be blocked. I am not afraid to use this. Anyways, so now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, let's just get into this because there's a lot that went down. So we are going to start off Full Gear as we normally do here or with any AEW pay-per-view. And we are briefly going to talk about 0 Hour. So 0 Hour kicked off for Full Gear with a singles match between Deonna Purrazzo representing the Vendetta taking on Anna Jay, who has just come off of a 2-match series with Mariah May. The first one being a regular AEW Women's Championship match, and then the most recent one, a no DQ, anything goes rubber match, where despite all her best efforts, Anna Jay was not able to knock Mariah May off her perch and claim that AEW Women's World Championship. How this match got made is that over the last 2 weeks, Anna Jay, after coming off a loss of Mariah May, is still looking to put the women's division on notice, and she caught the eye of the Vendetta, Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie, which has led us to this match. On paper, and I am embodying Alice a little bit when I say this, I was super excited for this match. I thought it was going to be great. I was a little upset it was on 0 Hour, but hey, you know what? These two were going to bring it. Tell me why it was 7 minutes and then it was over. I blinked and it was done. I was like, oh, man.
That was frustrating.
It definitely was frustrating because I'm like, I felt that this match didn't really get to where it needed to. And we talked about this on the watch along. But as the match was ending and we saw Anna Jay walk up the ramp, she was holding up her,
her top. Yeah.
Top, and it looked like either something snapped, came loose, and it looked like we almost had a wardrobe malfunction. I couldn't find anything else to confirm that or not, but I would not be surprised if I'm not surprised that they wouldn't confirm it because that's embarrassing and I feel bad for both women. But yeah, I was just kind of left disappointed with this match, and I'm giving it a little grace. I'm probably going to chalk it up to the more wardrobe malfunction, but for me personally, it didn't get to where I would have liked it to be. Alice, I'm going to come to you first. How did you feel about this match and any of the circumstances around it?
Oh, I was disappointed with how it ended, and I was disappointed with how short it was. I was like just starting to feel like, oh my gosh, we might get a decent length women's match. Never mind. Because it was immediately over. I just think it was so disappointing for Anna Jay to come away with the win. I know, like, I feel like we're trying to push her a little bit, and maybe this will be the beginning of like a Vendetta Anna Jay feud, and maybe at the end they'll be able to like be like, you should be one of us, you know, convince her that way. So maybe that would be a nice take. But I felt like, especially because with all the buildup for the Vendetta, it was so like, what a letdown, right? For them to lose. Because they've really been putting in the work, and I've been really enjoying those cutscenes. So I really wanted them to dominate in the ring, and it didn't feel that way. And then she lost, and it was it left something to be desired for sure. So I was disappointed in this match.
Yeah. Adolfo, how did you feel about this match?
Pretty much the same way. Last night I scoured the internet to see something about, you know, there was a wardrobe malfunction. It was it was called early, but I found nothing. And I mean, Alice pretty much said it all, you know.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you.
Yeah, I was disappointed, and I agree with you, Alice, in the sense because we've had lots of buildup of the Vendetta. We had maybe one in-ring interaction with the Vendetta destroying a local talent, and then this match got made, and I was excited. But this is where I always have with the biggest problem I always have with AEW is give us something new, but then it doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah. We had like 2 months of two and a half months build with this. Taya and Deonna became a team like almost a month and a half ago. And then we haven't really done much with them. And I don't know what backstage or Tony Khan or whoever's in charge, whoever's doing the booking right now is waiting for. You literally have Deonna and you have Taya, and you could put any other two women on the roster to go up against them in a small little feud. If you want to do Anna Jay, who's going after them? Cool. Literally, again, I would love this, and I would immediately take everything back I said right now. You put Thunder Rosa and Harley Cameron against them would be kind of great too, because it seems that Thunder and Harley are going to be, hopefully by the end of this, bestest of friends.
Right.
Harley. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I would love this to be an Oddfellows situation.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to get it twisted. I'm happy Anna Jay got the win, you know, and it was a good, clean win. It was a technical win. She reversed that arm bar and turned it into the pin, and that was awesome, right? But like, how are we going to be able to look at the Vendetta now
as a threat
when they come out and they do their, you know, their next vignette, right, and look at them as a threat? You know, I would have much rather Anna Jay got that win by DQ. You know, not toss Taya Valkyrie out, let them pull some shenanigans like they pulled against Thunder, which is a very, like, since they're going with that whole mafia thing, you know, very mafioso.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know,
the ref catches it,
and the ref catches it, right, and it's over. Like that, I felt would have tracked better. But that's it.
I agree with you, Adolfo. By no means, I'm not mad that this match happened. I'm not mad at the women in it. I'm just mad at the circumstances and how we're building up the Vendetta, because I think this could be something fresh for the women's division. And so far, we haven't really had them give me a reason to believe they are a credible threat to anybody in the women's division. But I still enjoyed it for what we got. I was just wishing, you know, we got more out of it, and I would have loved to see Deonna win. Yep. But we move on from this match because we go into our second 0-hour match, which was a 4-way match, which this was also pretty awesome. I love this match. Fun. This was a fun match. You have basically your highest of flyers and your strikiest of strikers. This was a 4-way with Dante Martin versus the Beast Mortos versus Commander versus the Buddy Matthews. This match was a lot of fun. It gave me everything that I wanted. We have technically we have 3 high flyers with Beast, Dante, and Commander. And also Buddy Matthews can fly across the ring as well if you wanted to. This was a lot of fun. And I feel like this is like this. I feel like this was the equivalent of just like a showcase of the quote unquote, if we had a cruiserweight division in AEW. And oh my gosh, you guys, Buddy Matthews actually got a win.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And he flew.
He did
too.
Oh yeah.
Goodness.
He did that over the rope somersault
so good.
That mass of bodies. Yeah, this was.
Wasn't that? Didn't you exclaim? Buddy Matthews can fly.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, this was a very high-powered and entertaining match. You know, they did allow Dante and Commander to do their thing, but my favorite part was when Beast and Buddy kept tossing them out and going after each other. And please give me a Buddy Matthews Beast Mortos rivalry. Thank you very much.
When we talk about the Continental Classic and when we talk about missed opportunities, Buddy is going to be one of those folks we talk about. But
yes.
I digress. Alice, do you have anything to add about this match in itself?
No, this was really fun.
Yep.
This was just fun. It had a lot of elements that I particularly enjoy watching, which is the dynamic between the high flyers and like the more grounded wrestlers. It's more interesting for me to watch that way. I feel it's more interesting. It tells a more dynamic story, in my opinion. I love that Buddy came away with the win finally, because he's been losing a lot. But overall, very entertaining.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was good. A lot of fun.
It definitely was. Buddy Matthews once again walks away with the victory. And, you know, this leads into our final match of 0 Hour. So, okay, let's chat about this real quick.
All right. We have to talk about this.
We have to talk about this, especially information that I found out about like literally 30 minutes before we went on air too. So, normally I am not the type of person, I never, unless it's Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, I'm not the biggest fan of celebrity wrestling matches because they never go right and it never equates to anything. What's up, Robert? Anyways, but when I tell you that I actually really enjoyed this, and upon the second watch through of this, I'm like, yeah, this was just entertainment, stupid fun. I love this so much. And honestly, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is stupid. I'm like, but that's the point. This is supposed to be stupid, but it's my kind of stupid. Like, and it's not like Big Boom AJ over here was just phoning it in. He literally put in the work. He was training to get ready for this.
Yeah.
You know, for somebody who's not a wrestler, I think he did pretty well, especially given the fact that it was dropped earlier today that Big Boom AJ broke his foot in the middle of this match and kept going.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Clueless.
Okay.
Had no idea.
And you know what? I love
good.
this match. It had everything I wanted. QT Marshall, I think, is a good dance partner to have. He's reliable. He's that good, like heel that we love to hate. And you know what? Having Big Justice spear, do a clean spear, might I add, was even better. I'm like, this kid has a better spear than most people do in the game right now. This was just stupid fun. Adolfo, I'm going to go to you first. How did we feel about our celebrity wrestling match for 0 Hour?
I would like to send my apologies to Big Boom AJ and Big Justice. I felt like I was very rough on this match beforehand. You know, I felt like it shouldn't have even been on our picks list. You know, I wanted to like skim over it, and I apologize. This did end up being one of the most entertaining matches of the night. You could tell Big Boom AJ put the work in. He was, he hit some really technical moves. I mean, he even went to the top rope, and how about Big Justice living every 12-year-old wrestling fan's dream of getting in the middle of a ring during a pay-per-view and spearing a professional wrestler to like thousands upon thousands of people cheering. Like, 12-year-old Adolfo was with 12-year-old Big Justice. Good on you, Big Justice. Good on you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of stupid fun. And I felt it was a great way to end 0 Hour and move to the main card.
I agree. Yeah. I think this was a great finisher. Yep. I'm just going to take it from there if you don't mind, Mikey. Yep. So yeah. I was not excited about this match, like at all. And it exceeded every expectation. It really was very, very entertaining. QT is the over the top, very silly heel, which I loved. And Big Boom fits right in there with as silly as he was. And it really was just kind of silly, over dramatic wrestling. And I loved that. And the crowd was for it. They loved it. They were like eating it up. It was great. The whole thing. And I was really sitting there hoping. I'm like, I really hope Big Justice gets in the ring. And when he did, I almost stood up.
Yeah.
Like it was so exciting. This really ended up being a very exciting match. I don't know if I would say one of the top entertaining moments of the night, but very, very good. Very good.
I think, and to kind of wrap up this before we move on to the main card, I feel like this is a good template. Not to say that it has to be an exact copy for copy, but I feel like this is how celebrity matches should work. And you can tell that QT and everybody involved made sure that Big Boom got some sort of training before getting into the ring, which is good on AEW and QT. So that way, the celebrity looks pretty decent when we're in the ring. I also still hold that the other celebrity match that worked besides Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, I don't care what nobody says. I still think Snooki teaming up with Johnny and Eva Mendes in WWE was still a pretty good celebrity match. I don't care what nobody says. Snooki did great. But again, I feel like this is what celebrity matches need to be. People put in the work. Big Boom AJ respects the business, and he's trained for this as much as he could. So, and also shout out BC WrestlePod offers speedy recovery to Big Boom AJ and his foot. Did not know he had it broken during the middle of this match, but what a consummate professional and a respect to the business, Big Boom. I am so happy. And QT, you did the darn thing too.
You did the thing.
You did the thing. So that was 0 Hour. We also got a quick announcement, even though there's not a slide about it, that the first simulcast between live TV and HBO Max AEW programming will be happening on New Year's Day with Fight for the Fallen. So that's going to be interesting. But we are done with 0 Hour. Now, let us get to the main card of Full Gear, which there was a lot of ups and downs, and we will talk about it right now. But we kick off the main card with our AEW World Tag Team Championship 4-way. This was our newly minted champions, Private Party, putting their titles on the line in a fatal 4-way against the Kings of the Black Throne, the Outrunners, and the Acclaim. Again, we talk about fun matches. This was a fun match. I think everybody, except for Max Caster, was so over with the crowd. Like, everyone was getting cheered except for Max. And this match did what I wanted to, because we started to see the breakdown of the Acclaim. Anthony Bowens is pulling in the work. Max Caster was doing whatever. He was getting involved with the crowd. He yelled at the crowd, who began to start booing at him. And Anthony's like, what the hell, man? These are my people. This is my hometown. What are you doing? The Outrunners got such a big pop. Of course, Kings of the Black Throne always gets the fan support. Private Party did great. This was just a fun match. And in no way, shape, or form did I think Private Party was going to lose. But this was just a fun opening match and exactly what it needed to be. Max Caster getting pinned also check things off my bingo card. After everything is said and done, the dust was settled. Private Party walk out of this match. Still your AEW World Tag Team Champions. Alice, we have witnessed weeks of qualifying matches. And, we've discussed this at length. How did we feel that this Fatal 4-Way went?
I feel like this went pretty well. I was very happy to see the Private Party retain. The Private Party retain.
Who's also from New Jersey.
They are.
So they were playing for the home crowd as well.
And it was good to see the Outrunners in something like this. I hope they continue to be featured. I do want the Kings of the Black Throne to get gold at some point. But give Private Party longer. They need to hold on to that title for a little longer.
Yeah.
It was a little frustrating. Like Max Caster was just so annoying.
I love
the whole match. And no, I think it told a really good story. Yeah. But as a viewer, I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like I was just in the same mindset of the whole crowd, just booing and yelling at him, which was frustrating because I felt like he almost detracted from the quality of the match because he was he was pulling a lot of attention, right? And I felt like a lot of the times I was watching him specifically instead of paying attention to what was happening in the ring. So it's a fine line, right? You want people to see that there are the breaks happening, but there were times where I was watching him only instead of what was happening in the ring. So that was, yeah. But we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah. Adolfo, how did you feel about our 4-way?
I'm surprised that they didn't go heavier into the Acclaimed breaking up. I thought Max Caster, I feel...
I'm going to have to disagree with you right there.
I feel I'm on the other side. I thought that Max Caster was doing a great job showboating, trying to get the spotlight, just to turn around and get the pin or get pinned, I should say. I'm surprised that they didn't go or I feel like they should have gone a little further with the breakup of the Acclaimed or the split. Though I guess we're going to be seeing more of that this upcoming week, tomorrow night, but yeah, the other tag teams did great. They did what I thought they were going to do, Kings of the Black Throne, Big Brody King, just dominant. Malachi Black, excellence in execution, if I may steal that phrase from another individual. Outrunners were just fun as hell, and Private Party, they were your champions, and they retained.
Excellent. To wrap this up, I think this was smart to put this first because it continued to have the crowd, get energetic. By the way, this crowd, we gonna have some words when we get to the second half of the show, but I thought this was smart to have
the crowd went to sleep.
Yeah. I was like, we'll talk about it when we get to certain matches, but this was a smart way to open up the main card. Private Party walk out of here as their champs. We will see what happens more with the Acclaimed spit. And hopefully, we'll see what happens with the rest of House of Black and the Outrunners moving forward as we get into World's End season. So we move on from here and we get into our second match of the main card, which is a singles match, which is MJF versus Roderick Strong. How we got this match made is that about a month and a half ago, Roderick and Adam Cole reunited and, everybody was buddy-buddy. And through some stuff, MJF said that, hey, you know what? Both of you have issues with me, so I'm going to give you guys a match, but under my conditions that whoever gets the first 3 wins will get the right to challenge me at Full Gear, which then sent Roddy and Adam Cole to have a series of matches that would determine who would go to face Full Gear. Roderick Strong ended up getting his 3rd and final win against Lance Archer in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And Adam Cole, unfortunately, was not able to defeat our AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita through methods of shenanigans and the diamond ring that MJF had the Don Callis family use to make sure Adam Cole didn't win, thus rendering him ineligible to face MJF at Full Gear. The match itself, there was a lot of stuff I liked. I thought this was a very solid, like, hard-hitting technical bout, if you will. I mean, Roddy's always good. I like Roddy in the ring. MJF is always fun. Before he started the match, MJF crossing many lines, as he normally does as a heel.
Classic MJF.
And I enjoyed a lot of this, but for some reason, and I don't know if it's just me, I felt that there were elements of this match that were kind of missing. And I'm trying to figure out what was missing, because the technical stuff was there, but it just didn't feel like there was enough for me to care about. And I don't know if it's because we know we're getting MJF and Adam Cole probably down the line. And so this is just a means to get to that next part of the story. I don't know. I enjoyed this match. I don't think it was technically bad. It was really good. I just feel that there are some elements for me personally that were missing, though I can't quite put my finger on exactly what it is, or at least put it into words. And maybe the two of you might end up helping me. Adolfo, I'm going to go to you first. So MJF, spoiler alert, picks up the victory over Roderick. We'll talk about the match and then we'll talk about what happened afterwards. But how did you feel about this match?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I felt this was a great second match. I felt that this carried the first match, carried the energy from the last match of 0 Hour. I felt that the MJF Roddy Strong held that energy. Maybe what is missing is that Roddy didn't get completely wrecked by MJF. Maybe that's what was missing. Especially coming off of what we've been seeing, like the Death Riders doing and whatnot. That's the only thing like I could really think of that was missing. At the end of the match, we did have Undisputed Kingdom and Kyle O'Reilly come down. Kyle O'Reilly not happy with Adam Cole. And maybe that is it. Maybe with the way they were acting, it feels like Roddy should have been beat up more. He should have been like carried out on a stretcher type thing, because yeah.
I'm going to have to disagree with both of you.
Okay.
Sorry. No, I liked this match, and I don't normally like Roddy Strong in the ring.
Yeah.
And I liked him in the ring this time. So whatever shift happened that you feel like something's missing, it was working for me. Just a lot of the time, I'm like, oh my God, get him out of the ring, end this match. And this time I was like, okay, Roddy, okay, I see you, right? So this worked for me. As usual, Adam Cole came out like a minute too late and $1 too short. And what really kind of annoyed me, and I understand why this happened, but Adam Cole comes running out, and what did he runs right past Roddy Strong. Right. And so the other members of the Undisputed Kingdom are like, oh my God, Roddy, your hand,
Right, yeah.
And then, and I think that also adds to Kyle O'Reilly being angry.
Yeah.
Like, you came out here and you were so focused on trying to get to MJF the prize, you couldn't even notice that like your teammate, your stable member is like, has like a broken arm.
And we did mention this on stream, but the way that this story has flipped, it seems like people are forgetting that the Undisputed Kingdom, Adam Cole, Roddy Strong, that whole group, they brought this upon themselves.
They are responsible.
They are responsible for this.
And yeah, like they are getting their just desserts. Like
yeah.
They created this monster that is
right.
super heel MJF.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that is a fair point to be made. So, well, who knows? Because now that Kyle is mad at Adam Cole, we'll see if that's going to be a speed bump along the way for whenever we decide to get MJF and Adam Cole. Who knows? It might be Kyle O'Reilly versus MJF at World's End. I think that MJF and Adam Cole will probably not face each other anytime soon. I mean, they could happen at World's End. It could not. We'll see what happens with all of that. But at least in storyline wise, Roddy is out. Or we'll see. Who knows? He might be back on my television screen on Wednesday. We'll see what happens.
He'll have like
a giant cast. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, and then MJF will appear out of nowhere and continue to beat on that
arm, man.
On that
arm.
Classic MJF.
I'm wondering if the story is going to include, I don't think it will, but the return of our vanilla gorilla Wardlow. Because where has Wardlow been in this whole story?
Where has Wardlow been? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
He's not hurt last I checked, but we'll see what happens. So then we move on to our third match. Y'all, what I tell you, I said it during the stream. I think this is probably one of my two favorite matches of the whole entire night. And this is definitely, for me personally, this is the best Mercedes has looked in a championship match on a pay-per-view. Yep. But this is for the TBS championship. This is Mercedes Moné defending her TBS championship against the crownless champ that is Chris Statlander, who has never got a rematch for a title she never truly lost at last year's Full Gear. So this story has been Chris and Mercedes feuding, mostly Mercedes having Camille try to take out Chris, which didn't work in her favor. After a failed beatdown in the ring, a failed vehicular manslaughter charge, after going through a wall at some point and Camille in a sling, Mercedes could not keep Chris Statlander down and could not prevent her from showing up at Full Gear to have this match. I do want to include what we got during 0 Hour with Mercedes telling Camille to stay in the back at catering and that she's going to show her how a true champion does it and doesn't need Camille to equalize things. And spoiler alert, Mercedes beat Chris clean in this match. Which
looked good doing it.
Yeah.
Finally.
This was an incredible match. Mercedes has never looked stronger. Chris Statlander, I thought Chris versus Willow was really strong at All Out. This is now, I'm like, damn, Chris, you're just 2-0 for me with your matches on pay-per-views. Like, this was also really good.
Yeah.
Alice, I'm going to come to you first. How did we feel about this TBS championship match?
I loved this match. It was electric. The crowd was engaged. This is, I'm going to echo your sentiment, Mikey, the best we have seen Mercedes Moné. Like her whole title run has so far been uninspired, right? Like I have not felt great about her holding the belt until this pay-per-view. Like she pulled it out, man. Like this was incredible. You know, she was really selling it too, how frustrated she was and how hard she was trying and like doing all this, you know, and the fact that she won clean, right? As a heel, that's wild. This was so good. And this is one of my favorite matches of the evening. This, yeah. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we got to give kudos to Chris Statlander. She wrestled her ass off in that match.
Chris looks so good here.
She looks so good. She had so many counters and reversals to what Mercedes was throwing at her, and just that, like, just gutting through the pain of a lot of the moves that Mercedes was throwing at her. You know, both these women. Fantastic match. yeah, I'm surprised that Camille didn't come out.
Yeah, I was really expecting that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that she stayed in catering. However, now I'm really interested.
Yeah, like what are we gonna see?
Yeah, now I'm like really interested. Like, is Camille gonna keep
the betrayal's
taking
coming.
this, or like
The betrayal
what's
is
gonna happen?
coming. I
Yeah.
honestly think so. You know, we have talked at length since Mercedes won this TBS championship, who would be the person to take it off of. And now that we're shifting into the next phase of the story between Mercedes and Camille, I honestly would love to see Camille be the one to dethrone Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
and-
I love it.
Yeah, and just really quick to wrap up. Even though she's been having a lot of vignettes, I love Julia Hart. I love Julia Hart. I don't want her coming back and straight into a title match with Mercedes Moné. I want Julia to get some reps in, to get some matches. Let's get a slow build towards that, because if it's not Camille, I mean, to be honest, I actually would rather see Stat Monet Part 2, you know, and then like have Julia Hart kind of folded into that. Yeah, Camille can be part of that whole shenanigans, you know, but yeah, that's my wish.
I agree with you. And we kind of talked a little bit about this during the stream too. I'm excited for Julia's return. I just hope we don't throw her back into the championship picture quite yet. And honestly, I would love to see Camille and Julia go at it for a little bit. Let those two be the next two feuds for Mercedes in this championship, because, you know, Julia is the uncrowned princess of the Black Throne to get it back. Yep. And then Camille being the person who is now not enjoying Mercedes treating her like absolute like garbage, mind you. So this could be a fun long-term feud with these three, and I would be here for it.
Oh, also one of my favorite signs was present at this match. It said "Free Camille."
Yeah. Hashtag free Camille, you guys. Seriously. This was a fun match. The strongest Mercedes has looked. She beat Chris clean. This was phenomenal. This ended up being one of my two favorite matches of the evening, and definitely into my top 3 as well. We go to our next match. So this poor crowd, man. Like, but thankfully, and we talked about this on stream too, the crowd was not as invested into this match, and it's not their fault because Mercedes and Chris blew the roof off. But I'm glad that it's not what we're used to seeing, where we had an incredible men's match and then the women suffer. And Hangman and Jay White, they made the crowd come alive towards the end of this. Again, this is round 2. Jay White beat Hangman at Wrestle Dream. And then, of course, shenanigans have happened. They've been going at each other for the last couple of weeks. We had a tag team match. This is fantastic. And then we get part 2 of this. I'm not going to lie. I thought Hangman was going to win. Spoiler alert, Jay White wins again. Clean, might I add you. I thought this was a lot of fun too. I thought this was just as good, if not slightly better than their match at Wrestle Dream. But yeah, the crowd was tired from the previous match.
Yeah.
And Jay White ultimately picks up the victory here, but Hangman gets the last word as he attacks Jay White at the top of the ramp after the match is over. He also decks the corporate Daniels, if I add too, with that strong right. I was like, dang, hey, man. I feel like we were watching a little bit too much of Yellowstone, and we picked up on that. Anyways, Adolfo, I'm going to come to you first with this one. Hangman Aggro Page versus Jay White. What do we think about the match itself, and where do we see this going next?
So up to this point in the pay-per-view, I thought that I was going to be able to have a slow match that I could run to the bathroom, right? But I was so glued to the TV. This was my breaking point, and I was like, I have to go to the bathroom right now. So, you know, I went to the bathroom not because I wanted to, but because like I had to. And that should also speak to how good Full Gear has been, up to this point. I thought this match was good. Jay White and Hangman Adam Page are both great workers. Like you can't go wrong with them. And they both put 100% into this. This is Jay White's 5th win over Hangman Adam Page.
Career win.
So, not to spoil the end, but I think maybe we're cooling off with Hangman Adam Page and Jay White now for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. So Jay White had expressed when he came back from his injury that he was coming for the people who essentially kept him from winning.
Yeah.
Right. So we got this really fun kind of mini feud between him and Hangman Adam Page. But now that he's won, he is done. Right. But we also know that Hangman Adam Page holds a grudge.
Yes.
Right. So I don't think this is the end of them,
No.
but I think, like you said, I think we're going to cool down and he'll, because he's done, right? Jay's like, I beat you. We're moving on. So he's going to move on to his next conquest. But I think in a little while, Hangman's going to be like, hey, remember me?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and this match was fine.
Again, it wasn't anything too crazy, but I do think it was solid work from both of them. And
Agreed.
This is not the last of these two that we will see, because we'll talk about them at the very end of during our main event.
Yep.
So we go into our next match.
Whoo, child.
If it wasn't already apparent, this was my match of the night. So Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a grudge match, if you will. Kyle Fletcher had turned on Will Ospreay a number of weeks ago, and these two have been feuding leading into this. The Don Callis family was feuding with Ricochet while Will was incapacitated for a couple of weeks. We had the return of Powerhouse Hobbs in the middle of this whole story. Poor Mark Davis got pinned at the go home show of the 8-man tag team match that we got on the Go Home Dynamite. Can I just say that the Proto Stars entrance with the whole regalia and the crown was just mwah. It was
gorgeous.
Beautiful. It was so freaking good. This match was absolutely nuts. Like these two, I was like, this is the New Japan too. This is the New Japan Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay that I know and love. Also, can we talk about Will Ospreay's Punisher inspired gear? That shit was great. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, can we get this darker Will Ospreay now? Because this is kind of fire. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. I also pointed out a couple times, like it looked like a lot of the times the heel was wearing white and the face was wearing black. So that was really an interesting play on the usual colors here, I think.
My goodness. This match went back and forth, a bunch of near falls. Ultimately, it was Kyle Fletcher who delivered, I want to make sure, a tombstone pile driver onto the steel steps, and then got Will back into the ring, hit the finisher. Kyle Fletcher beats Will Ospreay clean. Well, I mean, he used the steps, but clean.
That was very important for him, I think.
Clean.
It was very important for him to win this match clean.
Yep.
And we actually talked about it during our predictions too. We're like, of the two Don Callis family members that were on Full Gear, it was important for us. Kyle was more important to win clean than Takeshita did, which we'll talk about when we get there. But yeah, this was my favorite match. Kyle Fletcher picks up the victory. Alice, I'm going to come to you first. What did we think? Where do you think we're going? Like, just give me your opinion, period.
So I liked this match. This was not my match of the night, but it was very engaging. I did really like it. They very clearly are very good dance partners for each other, right? They know each other really well. Yeah. They know they trust each other, right? That's really, really obvious. And I say that because Will Ospreay historically is not the best seller, right? But the sells that I saw from Will Ospreay in Full Gear were the next level up. Like he was really selling more than usual, right? So I was really impressed by that. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's keep it going. I was really enjoying that. But yeah, and there were some times, you know, I was like, oh no, are they gonna do some shenanigans? And then did not. So I was so pleased that it just from start to finish, it was just like you said, like a grudge match, like an I'm so mad at you. And you saw, I mean, it was part of the selling for me from Will Ospreay, but you see like the shock, like he's like, oh my God, I am going to lose, right? Like I'm going to lose and I've lost my best friend, like this, he's stunned. So I thought really fantastic storytelling from everybody.
Yep. Yeah, pop those monsters, baby, because this was Kyle Fletcher's quinceañera. He is out there now, baby. Woo!
He had his whole quinceañera bar mitzvah, like
coming out with the white and the crown and the, and just like the pomp and circumstance, and also good on AEW. Whoever wrote this match, whoever produced this match, good on them for having those tense moments where Don Callis popped up. Mm-hmm. He popped up to the ring. He came out from behind. There was a little bit towards the end there. I saw Don Callis holding his hand kind of like that. I'm like, does he have the screwdriver? Is he going to hand it to? Nope. But no, it added to the tension, and the story of this match. I enjoy Will Ospreay. I love Kyle Fletcher, and I've said this before. I feel like he learned in the short time that he was down in Mexico, that he learned a lot. Maybe he went to like a crash course weekend with Ultimo Guerrero, on how to be a rudo, but like, yeah, I loved it.
I absolutely did too. They both did really great. And we'll talk about both of them not at the tail end of, once we're done with Full Gear, because these two are not quite done yet in terms of probably their paths crossing. Yeah. But again, these two did phenomenal job. The crowd came alive for this one. Fantastic match. Can I just say that Mina is my new favorite hero after all of this is said and done? Like,
she's amazing.
She is so great. Okay. So we take a break from the matches themselves. And again, this is in the middle of the card. So unfortunately, while Mercedes and Chris didn't suffer the curse, the crowd had to witness a banging match between Kyle and Will. But thankfully, It wasn't another match, though. So this still gave the audience to kind of somewhat be engaged and then, still be able to get across what needed to. So we had the Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa Champagne Championship celebration. So I'm just going to skip the formalities and talk about the real things that were important in this whole entire thing. Mina and Mariah are celebrating her championship, their friendship. Mina is, taking in the adulation of the crowd. Mariah May tries to get her. Mina senses it, and she spins kick that bottle out of Mariah's hand. She punted that.
Can we talk about that spin kick just for 1 minute and how it was just wow.
I'm dropping my one F word for this word. That spin kick was fucking beautiful. Like, holy crap.
They must have like every free moment practiced that. It was just so wow. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, it was so good. And so technically that does count of Mina confronting. Well, I mean, Mina technically did confront Mariah because not long after that, Mina Mina throws Mariah, takes her down to a table, and just yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that we also see Mina bleeding. She gave a tooth for this whole thing, and she has a big old welt on the top of her forehead, but it doesn't matter because this is now setting up Mina versus Mariah, and we got what we have been talking about since Mariah won this title back in August. we're finally getting Mina versus Mariah, and I'm just like, I don't care what nobody says. Mariah, Tony, Mina, these three are continuing probably the strongest women's story of professional wrestling this year. And I am so pumped for this.
Yeah, I saw one of the because they put this clip on social media, of course, and one of the top comments is like, chewing on the tooth you just lost from this is probably the most metal thing I've ever seen. So like, props to Mina.
Yeah, I've enjoyed Mariah May, right? But I haven't fully embraced the chaos until this spot. I don't know what it was, but like, she came out and she had a black eye, right? I'm like, oh, okay. And then with the spin kick again, that fucking spin kick was amazing. I hope I don't lose the Instagram feed. If I do, I'm sorry. But that spin kick was amazing. And then, the two of them, the spear going into the table, almost looking like, Mariah's head bounced off the floor. Mina coming up bloody and then wiping the blood. On the flip side of this, right? And yes, I know Mina is Joshi, from Stardom, and so was Mina and Mariah and whatnot. But these are two very beautiful women, right? Who, if you look at most of their promotional stuff, you don't see this. You don't see the blood. You don't see the black eyes, and this dichotomy compared to what their other promotional stuff is, I think is fantastic. Speaks volumes. Yes, more. Thank you.
If we don't get this at Worlds, I'm pretty sure we're getting this match at Worlds End. And if that is the case, I would love to see it. Or you know what? We can push.
I want to see it in Japan. I want to see it in Japan.
Oh, you want it to happen at Wrestle Dynasty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Honestly, Wrestle Dynasty would be fun too. And I feel like we have enough things leading into World's End that we could probably push this into. Yeah, Mina versus Mariah for the championship at Dynasty, and that is where Tony returns to set up Grand Slam Australia in February. Yeah, AEW is going to be busy for the next couple of months. We got World's End in December. We got a bunch of special shows in January, Grand Slam Australia pay-per-view in February, and leading into AEW Revolution in March. I'm so ready for this. This is exactly what it needed to be. Mina Shirakawa is a badass, and I love her.
Yes, she is.
Oh, so good. The same cannot be said for how I feel about this match. So,
okay, go ahead.
Now, for me personally, I feel that this is where, because I would say this is probably a good starting point for the second half of the pay-per-view. So from the Fatal 4-Way up to the Champagne Celebration, I would constitute that as the first half of the pay-per-view. And then from the TNT Championship to the main event is the second half. I am okay with feeling being the only one this way, but my overall, I feel like the second half was a little bit weaker.
I agree.
Than the first half. I will say, I was super happy because I was the only one to pick Daniel Garcia to win, so that gave me a point. And I think the match itself was a lot of fun. I just feel that we were one pay-per-view too long to get to this point. Because once Private Party took the titles off of the Elite, I was expecting Jack to... I'm going to be honest. I think we should have had this match at Wrestle Dream and had Daniel Garcia take the title off of Jack Perry at Wrestle Dream. Because the space between the Bucks losing their titles and the time that Jack Perry has lost the titles, we really haven't seen Jack Perry outside of being kidnapped by Daniel Garcia. I thought the Death Riders were going to come for him because they came for the EVPs. They took out Brandon Cutler, leaving Jack Perry and Okada. Okada has not been seen on television whatsoever since then. Jack Perry has had to fend to himself. And then we kind of just shifted away from that. So again, I think the match was great, especially when you look at things like this. This entrance is still fire.
Yeah.
And I actually really love Jack Perry's entrance. I thought the match was good, But I feel that for me, from a storytelling perspective, this is one pay-per-view too far. I think Garcia should have won this at Wrestle Dream instead of having Perry versus Shibata, which, don't get me wrong, was a lot of fun at Wrestle Dream. But I thought we were going to get more with Perry and Shibata, and that went nowhere. So, again, I thought this was great. Daniel Garcia is our new TNT champion. Just, putting it out there. Making Jack Perry tap out here, and Daniel Garcia holding up the new championship and is our new TNT champion. Alice, I'm going to go to you first. This was the start of the second half of the pay-per-view, if you will. How did we feel about this TNT championship match?
Okay. It is not a secret that I do not like Jack Perry, and I'm not a fan of Daniel Garcia either. That being said, this was a good match. I'm going to look at the short-term storytelling of the match and not the long-term storytelling. The reason I liked this match is because we were really pulling sort of on like the morals of Daniel Garcia. And I felt like the two of them were very effective in the ring, right? Because especially with that spot where Jack Perry brings the belt into the ring and is like, hit me with it. You can't win without this. He's really goading him, like, come to the dark side, right? But the physical display of the struggle from Daniel, right? Like or Garcia, whatever. I'm gonna hit him. No, I can't do it. I'm gonna hit him. Like, oh no, I can't. And then ultimately giving it to the ref, right? And sticking to his
code of honor.
Sure. So I liked that, but again, like, I don't like them as wrestlers, so like the match was fine. And I'm also very happy that it's not with the titles, not with Jack Perry anymore. But I don't know, the whole TNT championship is kind of lackluster for me.
Yeah.
But we've got the belt on somebody new, so maybe there will be a refresh, and maybe I'll be engaged again. But we'll see.
We'll see, because I have questions about Mr. Garcia and his participation in something we'll talk about at the very end.
And speaking to that end, yeah, it felt like Adam Copeland. When he had the TNT belt, there was a lot of excitement around it.
Yeah.
With Adam Copeland getting hurt and getting what we've been getting. Yeah. But then again, it's like, that's Adam Copeland, like it's tough to match that type of energy.
Is it?
It is.
I'll bring a counterpoint up in a little bit, but go ahead, keep going.
And I was getting used to Jack Perry as the TNT champ. This match itself, I didn't think I was going to like it. I ended up liking it. And again, it's for the story that it told. I thought it was a good story. And it's nice to see Daniel Garcia holding that belt. It did feel like a dichotomy, not to spoil anything coming up, but it did feel like a dichotomy compared to what happened later on in the show. Yeah, let's see what Daniel Garcia does with the TNT belt now.
Right. And, to add on to just a little bit of a counterpoint too, when Copeland had the TNT championship, I think it was just, I feel like even in the short run before he broke a whole entire leg and gave it up, I feel like the opponents that were surrounding Copeland for that TNT championship, not to say that Jack Perry's, field of opponents weren't strong, but Copeland had to go through Christian and Darby and Malachi. Jack Perry won it in a ladder match, went through Shibata, and then Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
So I love Shibata. Everybody knows this. He is the homie. He is my friend. I love him, and I love Daniel Garcia. But since winning that championship, and I still hold to the fact that Takeshita should have won that ladder match at Forbidden Door. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad he has the international championship, but while I grew to love the scapegoat character, I am worried for what happens with him next, now that he is no longer a champion. So hopefully, we'll see what happens with him. He seems to be out of the picture, which means the only person of the elite left standing with any championship gold is Okada, which, spoiler alert, I don't think he's going to hang on to that and make it to World's End as the champion. But we'll talk about it when we get there.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yep, we move on. This match was good. That's as far as I'll get with it. I mean, shenanigans happen, and I'm kind of glad shenanigans happen because I feel like Takeshita makes more sense to have shenanigans happen than Kyle Fletcher did. I'm just mad at Tony Khan that we waited 2 days before the pay-per-view to add this onto the card. I was just like, I had expected, okay, maybe we're not going to get this, Before this match was announced, I was like, I'm looking at the card. I was like, okay, this is pretty solid. Like 8 matches on the main card, that's pretty decent. And then 2 days, Tony's like, oh yeah, we're going to add this match on here because it's going to be great. And I'm like, Tony, this was great. But I felt like this was placed in the wrong part of the card because the crowd was tired. They were exhausted. Yeah. I feel that this should have been in the first half. I love Takeshita and Ricochet, but they should not have been placed at this point of the show. I feel like this and the TBS championship match should be in the first half, and then you save like everything else later. I really like this match I did. Takeshita does retain the championship. Ricochet gave it his best effort, but shenanigans did not allow him to win. I like the match, but I feel like it suffered for where it was positioned on the card. And that's my only biggest problem I have with the match itself is I felt bad because Takeshita and Ricochet were put in a weird spot on the card. Adolfo, I'm going to come to you first. How do we feel about our international championship match?
Weird spot or not, I felt this was a great match. Ricochet and Takeshita, they pulled some moves that I mean, watch the live stream. I was just like, what? How in gravity's name? In Olivia Newton-John's name, how did that work? Even though the shenanigans happened, I feel that Takeshita did get the win clean, which is important because when he won the belt, it was not clean. I also, and again, much like with with Fletcher Ospreay, there was a lot of that. Are they? Aren't they? Are they? Aren't they? That I really enjoyed, and I also enjoyed that the Don Callis family, they came in, they did their work, and then they walked off. There was no after match beat down or anything like that. They came in, did the thing, and left.
Yeah. Alice, what did you think about this match?
This match was okay. I mean, I like Ricochet. I felt like he sort of and Commander have this thing where they could do gravity stuff, and I'm watching them like, aren't you supposed to fall? Okay, there it goes. So this was nice. I think it suffered for me. I was spent by the time we got to this match. So I think I was kind of in a similar place to the crowd, and that's unfortunate for them in this placement. But it was a good match. I'm trying to remember any moments that really stuck out, but I don't know. They're both, Takeshita and Ricochet are such good wrestlers, and they're both so over that obviously any match with the two of them is going to be fantastic. Right?
Yep.
So that's how I feel about that. I am hoping that we'll get I want more build up with their feud, and I want maybe I don't know if we can make 3 matches work, but if we can do like the 3-match thing with them, I think that would be really great.
Yes.
Because I think even though Ricochet lost, I think his performance was still so good that he still, he still won the match, if that makes sense. Like both both of them won.
Yep.
Like that's how I feel about that.
Agreed. I would love to see these two go at it again. Give me a trilogy. I'd be cool with that. So we leave this match. Oh boy. We get into our semi-main event, which was Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley. Again, I also felt bad because this was also in a weird position on the card. Yep. Though I will say, Swerve did the darn thing, and Bobby looks great.
Yes.
Like, Bobby Lashley is so freaking good. He picks up the victory as he should. And then, Nana gets beaten up with Swerve after the match. So we're not done with these guys, which makes me super excited.
Oh, very happy.
Oh, absolutely. So, Alice, we'll go to you first. Swerve versus Bobby. What do we think?
So I don't know if I agree that this is in an awkward space, because I think this was the match of the night for me. I loved this match. I felt so rejuvenated and excited after watching this match. I was like Swerve really put in the work. Like, he was doing great. And Bobby Lashley, who I have never seen in the ring before, right, was a force to be reckoned with. I'm afraid of that man now, like he can really just like toss people around, and Swerve was doing his job, right? Like, he was selling, he was throwing all these moves at him, and Bobby Lashley was like, okay. Amazing. I loved this match. I loved how, the Hurt Syndicate, right? They come out, right? And one of them gets tossed, and MVP's like, it's okay, we got this. But then at the end, he comes back out again. And I'm living for this. I cannot wait to see where this feud between them goes. This was very exciting for me. I loved this match.
Yeah, I agree too. This was a really fantastic match. Swerve, and I've said it before, Swerve is one of those wrestlers that you can put pretty much anyone next to him, and he will make that other wrestler look good. He did it with Will Ospreay. He did it with Bryan Danielson. He did it with Hangman 3 times. And I'm just so happy that Bobby Lashley was able to come out and be Bobby Lashley.
He was so scary. I loved it. It was amazing. Sorry.
No, yeah, especially because the last of the WWE that I watched was them treating Bobby Lashley like trash, and I knew that he deserved better, and I feel like he got better in this match, and I know it probably won't happen, but I would love to see Bobby Lashley in the main event next pay-per-view.
I can make an argument for that. I do. For me personally, I feel like that's a little too soon, especially since especially what happens at the end of our main event. We have a lot of players already in that scene.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think Bobby will definitely get there, but I feel like we have too many players right now, and Bobby, I think, would be great after Revolution. So beginning of April, we could probably see that, because Moxley's going to be busy in my little conspiracy theory, which I'll talk about when we get there.
Well, but to clarify, not for the championship, but in a main event match. And I know that normally in a main event match is reserved for like a championship, the championship match. But Bobby Lashley, he's ready. He's main event ready, I believe, is what I'm trying to say.
I agree, but for me, they would need to add something to Swerve and Bobby's feud in order for me to be okay with that going in there. Because again, we'll you know what? Let's just get into it because I keep alluding to it. Let's just talk about this main event because then we're gonna go back and forth between this. We see Jon Moxley defending his AEW World Championship against Orange Cassidy, who by the middle of this match became Bloody Orange Cassidy.
I told you we were going to see Blood Orange Cassidy.
Love Blood Orange Cassidy. This match was a train wreck in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Orange was so aggressive. I love seeing aggressive Orange Cassidy. Jon Moxley was not going to let him walk out of here in one piece. That man Orange went through steel steps. He went through tables. Like Moxley made Orange bleed for goodness sakes. And this was violent as all hell. And I dug it. And for me, this definitely ended up being one of my top 3 matches of the evening because finally, this is what I needed from Mox from the very beginning since we told this story. This is Mox that I need all the time where he's ruthless. He's going to end somebody's career. He's going to make them bleed. And spoiler alert, Jon Moxley does retain the AEW World Championship. Match was fantastic. I want to get to both of your quick thoughts because the real story is what goes down after this match. So Adolfo, I'm going to come to you first. Sticking to the match for right now, what did we think? Orange versus Mox.
So sticking to the match, this is what I meant about the dichotomy of the Daniel Garcia, where he refused to use the belt to hit Jack Perry, ended up winning. In this match, Orange Cassidy was presented the opportunity to smack Mox with the briefcase that has the belt, and he took that opportunity and did it and ended up losing. There was a lot of times in this match where Mox was like, he would go over and like would say stuff to Marina Shafir, right? And I can't help to think maybe, and this is probably maybe, with my tinfoil hat on, maybe that was Mox being like, all right, listen, if Orange wrestles me, don't get involved. We're going to wrestle, right? The minute he stoops to my level, that's when I want you to get involved, I also, with the way that Mox has kind of been going about like his modus operandi for doing the things he's doing, I feel that kind of like tracks with that. But yeah, this held good energy. The match held good energy. Alice?
I was not excited about this match, so I took the dog for a walk during this match, and I came back in the house right when it got really exciting.
Yeah, yep.
So, from my perspective, it was great.
Yeah, this was definitely a
we got through the fluff into the meat of the potatoes, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
So, match itself, thought it was fun. This was great. Mox retains. Let's talk about what we're really here, because I disagree with the internet on this one because I love the overbooked mess that was the ending of the show.
Yeah.
Because we literally had chemical warfare because after the match, Death Riders come in, they beat up Orange Cassidy some more. They make this man drink bleach. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, this is nuts, but this is what I wanted from you guys. Like, you're the Death Riders. You should be taking people out left and right. And so by removing Orange Cassidy, who quote unquote is like right now in the story is your leader of Team AEW, taking quote unquote, like taking the Emperor's head, if you will. This roster is about to be in fear for the next couple of weeks, but they made Orange Cassidy drink bleach. But then it gets oh so crazy because Christian Cage comes out with that contract. We're thinking, because Mox gets hit, he's down. Christian looks like he's going to cash in. Hangman Aggro Page comes out, looks to stop Christian. They have a little bit of an eye to eye. and Hangman lets go and kind of looks like he's about to let Christian Cage cash in on Moxley, but then Jay White comes out, stops all that, chases Hangman and Christian Cage out of the ring. The Death Riders bounce from all of this. Okay, so I want to, if you guys are okay with it, I want to share my conspiracy theory.
Well, and really quick, it was Hangman that knocked out Mox.
Oh, that's true.
And then Christian showed up.
That's right. Sorry. I got ahead of myself. I got too excited.
Yep. So go ahead.
So I think in this overbooked craziness that was the final couple of minutes of the show, I think AEW showed us who Mox's next 2 opponents are for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So hear me out, right? I think because the Continental Classic is what's going to take up a majority of the Dynamites and Collision for the next 4 weeks, because that's the big thing for World's End. I think, and follow me on this one, I think that the next opponent for Mox is Hangman. So Hangman versus Mox, because they also have history.
Yep.
Then, of course, Hangman is unsuccessful. Then we fast forward to February. I think it's Jay White versus Mox at Grand Slam Australia. Then, unfortunately, Jay White can't get the job done either. And then I think whether at Revolution or the pay-per-views afterwards, or even to Double or Nothing, is where Darby enters the scene and takes the title from Mox. So I think Hangman is at World's End, Jay White's at Grand Slam Australia, and then Darby will either be at Revolution or any of the pay-per-views past that in the spring. So I think Mox is holding on to this thing for a while.
Yeah.
But if he takes out Hangman and Jay White like he took out Orange Cassidy, I am so much more here for this story than what we've been getting so far.
That would be really exciting to see, I think, see him go through all those people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Hangman is next up for Mox. I feel that cool down between Switchblade and Hangman, it's going to involve both of them mixing it up with Mox. I can't help to think if Luchasaurus was still healthy, if he wasn't going to be Hangman and not in that challenging Mox, but knocking Moxley out, to set it up for Christian. So, I can't help if Luchasaurus is not being there, absence, right, will kind of made them pivot with this
a little bit.
Yeah. I like this because now it's kind of sort of done what I have been kind of griping about, in that now it feels like the entire locker room is now getting involved with these Death Rider shenanigans and whatnot. So, and I'm happy that Christian didn't fully cash in. I'm happy that he's still lurking, in
the shadows, if you will.
In the shadows. Yep.
So that does bring us to the end of our Full Gear. So let's give our ratings, and then we'll talk about the other part of the show, which we're going to go through not as long, but still talk about it. But for Full Gear this year, I really enjoyed Full Gear. I give this a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I think this is a strong B plus show for me. I still think Wrestle Dream for me personally was a lot stronger from beginning to end, but I think Full Gear was just as fun. And I thought we did a lot of good things, telling stories, adding chapters, concluding rivalries, beginnings of new ones, and basically getting a roadmap of where the next 3 months goes for AEW, which has me excited. Alice, what do you give Full Gear?
Oh, I thought we were going to do a rating out of 5. So I was going to do
You can do
4.5.
5. Go for it.
Now
Go
that's
for
going
it.
to be 9, I guess, right? 9 out of 10. That
Mhm.
was good. I do agree with you. I think the beginning was stronger than the end. But I also think, when you're trying to make those booking decisions, it's always hard, right? Like I'm thinking about the spot for Monet, Mercedes Monet and Chris Statlander. Historically, Miss Monet has not been giving us very strong showings. So that was a safe place to put that match, and then they just blew it out of the water. You're like, damn, that should have been way later. Oh well, so I think it was a 9 out of 10 for me. I really did enjoy this.
Yeah.
I had fun
Yep.
the whole time, and that
Yeah.
is not like that doesn't happen for me a lot when I'm watching pay-per-views. I don't have fun the whole time.
Yeah. This is the 9 out of 10 for me too. I was holding my bladder as much as I could, which is always the sign of a good pay-per-view, that I want to sit and not miss anything. So
Excellent. Well, that concludes our full gear portion of the show. But AEW decided to tell us y'all don't get to just review, full gear, because we are going dark after tomorrow for the remainder of the week to enjoy the Thanksgiving holidays here in the United States. But AEW last night were like, hey, y'all, just to let you know, we've been teasing the Continental Classic. And last night, they announced the participants and gave us the blocks for Blue and Gold League. So we're going to talk about the Continental Classic for a little bit before we sign off for the evening. And then I'm also going to give our final standings in the AEW Predictions League, because I also have updated those scores as well. So this is going to be fun. But last night, around 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Tony Schiavone gave us a rundown of all the participants in the AEW Continental Classic for 2024. But before we get into those blocks, just as a reminder, the rules set for the Continental Classic look a little bit different. So each match has a 20-minute time limit. And just like the G1 Climax, there are points awarded for wins and draws. So if you win a match in your block, it is 3 points for you. It is 1 point for a draw. And the only other difference is that everybody else is banned from ringside. So no factions can be out there, no managers, nothing. So it is literally trying to keep everything on one-on-one, which is kind of questionable when it comes to some of the participants of how that going to work. But we'll talk about it when we get to them. And what's at stake here is that the winner of Blue League and Gold League will go on to World's End to see who would be crowned this year's Continental Classic and become the Continental Championship. As it was established when we had the first one, the winner and the current person holding the Continental Championship come Full Gear 2024 will automatically be entered in. So Okada was announced as the first participant, and he's currently the champ. But with that out of the way, let's break down as to what our leagues look like, because I was interested in some of the choices. So we're going to start with the Blue League. So in the Blue League, we have our Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada, TNT Champion, Daniel Garcia, the Protostar, Kyle Fletcher, Shelton Benjamin, which made me super excited to see a new face in here, the, Chicken Kung Fu Master himself, Mark Briscoe, and Attorney General at Law, the Beast Mortos. So I sent this in our text message last night. I'm very surprised that we have two people. This is going to be their second time around. I'm even more intrigued the fact that you're putting the TNT champion into the Continental Classic, which means to tell me that unless he puts that title on the line during the Continental Classic, I'm kind of thinking, I was like, okay, so Daniel won this, but we're not going to have a feud for him until this is over, it seems like. Darn. But I will say, I am happy to see Kyle and Shelton and Beast Mortos in here, because there's our new faces. I'm extremely happy that Kyle's in this Continental Classic this year, especially coming off a win against Ospreay.
Yep.
This is going to be so good for his momentum.
Yep.
I remember looking at this list last night going, how do they even pick these people?
That's what I was saying. I mean, Okada default because he's champion, so that makes sense. Kyle makes sense. Morthos makes sense. I'm excited for Shelton because it gives him more screen time. I'm questioning why Daniel and Mark are back.
Right, so I didn't watch last year, and I was unaware that they're repeats. But for me, I'm like, why is Daniel Garcia in here? He's the TNT champion, and then why is Mark Briscoe in here? He's been spending a lot of his time on ROH. He had the ROH belt. He's, I'm not mad. I like him, but I'm not sure. I feel like the other three choices make more sense.
Right. And okay, so Alice, to give you a little perspective too, Mark Briscoe was in this thing last year, but as Adolfo will probably attest to it, we were so disappointed with how he was treated in this tournament because he pretty much lost every single. He was there to take L's. He was there to take L's. He lost every single match except one against Jay Lethal, who was also in the Continental Classic last year.
Oh my God, are they going to do that again?
And Daniel Garcia only won one match too last year as well against Brody King, which kept Brody out of the finals.
Yep. And they better, I hope they don't do that to Beast. I hope that the Blue League is a lot more competitive.
Balanced.
And balanced than it was last year. Yeah.
That's so upsetting. I'm so upset.
Yeah. We were so mad too for Mark Briscoe. I mean, last year really so the finals ended up coming down between Danielson and Eddie Kingston for the winner of the Blue League. And Eddie did win. He would go on to face Moxley, who was the winner of the Gold League last year. And Eddie Kingston ended up beating Mox at last year's World's End to become the inaugural Continental Champion. So Okada, Fletcher, Benjamin, and Morthos I'm excited for. I'm a little puzzled why Garcia and Briscoe are back. Hopefully they do better than last year because I was so mad how these two were treated last year.
Yeah.
Which, let's go to the Gold League because I also had the same problem with some things. This Gold League, though, I am a little bit more happy with because there's a lot of new, fresher faces and people who usually don't get a lot of stuff. Obviously, Will Ospreay in the Gold League makes me excited. I hope we continue to get Dark Will Ospreay, Punisher Will Ospreay, the Billy Goat version of him instead of the United Empire version of him. We also have the Juice is Loose, Juice Robinson, which makes me super excited.
I was super excited for that pick. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy we get another representation of the Bang Bang Gang. Jay White was in it last year and made it to the finals in the Gold League. We had a triple threat between him and Swerve, who tied, and Moxley was involved. It was crazy. We also have Ricochet coming off a loss against Takeshita. Returning, and hopefully, thank goodness he's not in the cast like he was last year, Brody King. I was so happy because Brody King decimated for the majority of the tournament. And unfortunately, because Daniel beat him in the final match, it kept Brody out of the finals, unfortunately. But let me tell you, the real story is going to be Claudio Castagnoli. And I'm happy Darby's in this because I was saying, why was Darby not in this last year? Darby wasn't in this last year. So there's only two people returning, Alice, from last year, and that's Claudio and Brody. Claudio is the only person last year who ended his record with a tie. He's the only wrestler where it went to the time limit draw between him and Danielson. So him and Danielson met the 20 minutes. That match was incredible. I like the Blue League. I have less questions about the Gold League, and I feel like, for me personally, the Gold League is more balanced, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I hope Juice is not here to take because I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, I hope Juice isn't in there to take L's.
I would be really mad about that.
I feel like last year the Gold League was the most entertaining of the leagues that we watched. I mean, the whole
it was more unpredictable because once we saw Danielson in the Blue League, we're like, it's either going to be Danielson or it's going to be Eddie Kingston. Yeah. And it was like everybody else was unfortunate. And then last year we had great people in the Blue League too, because we had Daniel Garcia, Brody King, we had Andrade El Idolo was in there last year. That was a lot of fun. But I think this one's more balanced. I'm gonna make an early prediction right now. because I mean, the only two other slides I have are the blocks themselves. So everybody's going to get a chance to face everybody. And once everyone gets a chance to face all the other participants, whoever has the highest score in the Blue League will end up going to World's End to face the winner of the Gold League. So going back to our Blue League participants, and of course, here's the Gold League, same thing. Going back to the Blue League really quickly, I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to come down to either Okada or Fletcher for me. I think those are my two top picks for the Blue League to be the ones who take it and win for the Blue League. I would love to see Kyle win. I'm not going to lie.
My heart is with Beast. But my brain is with Shelton Benjamin, believe it or not.
Ooh. See, I think Benjamin's going to have a strong showing.
I was going to say, for me, it's Fletcher or Shelton Benjamin. Yeah. I would love to see Kyle Fletcher win, but I also would love to see Shelton Benjamin win.
Right.
Yeah.
So the reason why I didn't say Kyle is because I don't want Kyle versus Ospreay part 2.
I don't think Ospreay's going to win.
No, I don't think he is.
Yeah, I don't want to see them facing each other for the Continental Classic.
I don't think we will, even if Kyle Fletcher's the winner of the Blue League.
Yeah. So
if Okada does not win the Blue League, he is no longer champion. That's the other thing here too. Okada has to win the Blue League to make it to World's End, because if he does not win the Blue League, he is no longer the champion.
Right.
So then it becomes vacant, and then we get a new crown champion. Now, if we look at the Gold League, I agree with you, Alice. I think Will is going to do really good. I do not foresee him winning. Also, as a really crazy thing, I think this is where we see Ricochet turn darker and go a little bit more heelish. Brody Keen's going to destroy fools. Juice is making the Juice lose. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think the final two is going to be Claudio and Darby. I think Claudio and Darby are going to make it to the finals of the Gold League. And then this is where Darby gets his lick back for losing to Claudio like 2 weeks ago. And then I think Darby is poised to go to World's End.
I think it's going to be Ricochet and Castagnoli.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be Ricochet and Juice.
Oh, I would love to see Juice go so far, you guys.
Wild match, though.
Right?
The Juice is... I just don't want Juice to be here to take L's. That's my biggest thing, AEW. Somebody has to take L's, but let's spread them out, because I don't want a Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal, Daniel Garcia bit where they do nothing but lose every single match except for one. But I am excited to see Darby in here, because Darby should have been in it in last year. We don't understand why he wasn't, and who knows, the Blue League might surprise me, but I am so here for everybody in the Gold League, and I'm more excited right now on paper. I'm excited more about the Gold League matches than I am the Blue League matches.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm equally excited. It's going to be good wrestling, I feel.
You know what? That's absolutely correct, because I remember last year when we got the Continental Classic, I remember at the beginning we were like, I'm not sure how we feel about this and how it ended up going. And then pretty much by the end of it, I was on board. We had some great matches. I was actually really happy that Andrade got a really strong showing last year, because I was afraid they were going to bury him.
Yep.
I'm excited. I think the Continental Classic is going to be great. And that is what's going to be taking up the majority of Dynamite and Collision for the next 4 weeks. However, I think we're building Mina and Mariah during this time, so that championship is taken care of. Mercedes will probably have a small feud before we get to Camille, probably, which I'm okay with. But that means that probably, since the Continental Classic is going to take care of the men's division for the most part, I also think that we're going to start to see, or we're going to figure out who's going to be in that fatal 4-way to represent AEW at Wrestle Dynasty, because we got to get that set before the end of December.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully they'll be cool about it, have qualifying matches to earn a spot in the fatal 4-way, and then give me that fatal 4-way at World's End to determine the women's representative for AEW leading into Wrestle Dream, or Wrestle Dynasty, I should say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's the case. But that is going to be it for us here at Grapple Gurus. We talked about Full Gear. We talked about the Continental Classic. Alice and Adolfo, thank you so much for giving up your time to do this. This was a lot of fun. And then, of course, I will be back tomorrow with Andrew as we do our final review for the week, which is GCW's Bloodsport. Well, actually, it'll be me, the professor, and Andrew. So the three of us will be reviewing GCW Bloodsport. Lots of great stuff. Marina Shafir kicked all the ass last night during that pay-per-view. It was so good to see her back in the ring, and I just need AEW to let her wrestle. That's.
I know,
so
right?
good.
Right.
Oh,
and by the way, we have a giveaway coming up. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that slip?
Did it though? So next week on our AEW show, we will be having a really cool giveaway. And if you want to find out more,
Mikey, let's let that simmer.
I'm not going to tell what it is. I'm just saying, if you want to find out more, tune into our review for AEW next Tuesday.
There you go.
Because otherwise, you're going to miss out. But that is going to be it for us here at Grapple Gurus. From myself, Adolfo, and Alice, and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family. Oh, I totally forgot. Before we sign off, Predictions League.
Yep.
Then I'll do my sign off. So I have tabulated and tabululu and, went over the numbers, crunched them twice. So, Alice, I will say you ended up in second place between the folk. You ended up in second place for this one with a record of 9-4. And let's check out everybody else on the board. So in fourth place is JVL, who had a record of 6-7 for Full Gear and an overall record of 33-23. In third place is the Professor with a Full Gear record of 7-6 with an overall record of 37-19. Pulling up into second place is Adolfo / El Buntador II, which is amazing, with a Full Gear record of 10-3 and an overall record of 39-17. And then pulling out, also still in first place with a Full Gear record of 10-3 and an overall record of 42-14. I am sitting at top of the predictions board in first place. El Buntador / Adolfo pulling up.
Yeah, there's not that much difference between me, John, and John. So
this is really close as well. So I keep saying this every single time we do these things. I still thank Forbidden Door this year because I only missed one match and that pulled me into first place because I was last. But don't worry, I may or may not have to end up wearing a wrestling singlet by the end of it because WWE predictions, I'm getting hosed over there. Minnie is in first, and me and Professor are fighting it out to see who's going to end up in last. And then Andrew and I are fighting it out in TNA, but it's really close in all the predictions league as we continue to do so. So with AEW, we have 3 pay-per-views left until we are done with the prediction season because we got World's End, Grand Slam, Australia, and it ends at Revolution. Then we start again with whatever the April pay-per-view is. So we are 3 pay-per-views away. Somebody is ending up in a wrestling singlet for a week of reviews. So this is going to be fantastic. But now that is it for us here at Grapple Gurus. So I already said the spiel. From all of us to you, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you tomorrow for the GCW Bloodsport 12 review. But until then, sayonara, adios, and we'll catch you later.